Alright, yan. Magandang araw mga kabatas natin at welcome sa isa ng mga live stream. Mga kabatas natin, sige, pagbigyan natin ulit si Sendong. Gawin nating intro yung kanyang kanta kasi napakaganda. Maraming salamat sa iyo, Sendong, no, sa pagbibigay sa amin ng eargasm dito. Okay? +1. Let's go!
Napakasikat Forma ay maangas Nakilala ng lahat Sariling niyang multo Ang totoo'y nakupaw niyan Pero sa likod ng stage Siya'y fighting Swarkat Sige, sigaw mo pa
+1. Ay, 1. +1 ka!
Sige, dagdagan mo pa. +1 ka. Akala mo matatakot kaming mali ka doon. Ikaw mismo ang may gawa ng ikakasira mo.
Sige, ayusin ko yung title. Thank you, Regul.
Di kami ang nanloloko
Check,
sa mga
check.
tao.
Check.
Alam naming batas natin ay patas sa totoo. Swan ka. Sige, isigaw mo pa. Swan ka.
Sandali. Take the L, then file another one. Naalala ko tuloy yung pinaglalaban nila, no? Parang tatanggapin namin, no? Tatanggapin, tas magpa-file ulit. Tas madidismiss ulit, tatanggapin niya, tas magpa-file ulit. Sinasabutahin niya talaga yung justice system natin, no? Oh, let's go.
+1 ka. Sige, dagdagan mo pa. +1 ka. +1 ka. +1 ka.
Yan, salamat Sendong. And keep him coming. Napakaganda. Oops. Oh, no. Saan ba galing ito? Okay. Keep him coming. Napakaganda. Anyway, mga kapatid natin, tuloy na natin. Yung discussion natin kanina, tulad na sinabi ko sa inyo, ito mga kapatid natin ay tungkol dun sa dismissal noong motion for reconsideration ni Raffy Tulfo doon sa 32 cases na final nila. Okay? Dun sa mga hindi nakapanood, dun sa part 1, mga kabats natin, dun sa part 1, diniscuss natin yung administrative determination of probable cause, tapos yung judicial determination of probable cause. Okay? At ngayon din, mga kabats natin, aalamin natin, no, kung ano ang nangyari dito sa motion for reconsideration nila. At syempre, mga kabatas natin, kung ano rin ang pinaglalaban nila dun sa motion for reconsideration nila. Okay? Let's go, mga kabatas natin. Sabi niyang ganyan, nag-umpisa, mga kabatas natin, diniscuss ng korte yung nasa taas. Pinapa-inhibit nila yung judge. Okay? Doon sa first 2 cases na final nila, mga kabatas natin, successfully napalitan yung judge, nagkaroon ng early retirement. Okay? Ngayon, mga kabatas natin, sandali, ini-edit ko lang ng saglit itong mga nandito. Ituloy natin yung sinabi ng korte dito. Okay? Sabi dito, edit ko lang saglit, ha? Give me some time. Give me some time. Wow. Anyway, mamaya na lang. Sabi dito, on the same date, at 9:12 o'clock in the evening, the prosecution filed the motion for reconsideration of the 19 April 2024 Omnibus Resolution dismissing the cases herein. the prosecution contended in the said motion for reconsideration, the court committed grave abuse of discretion and the grievous error when it reversed its previous finding of probable cause. Sinabi ko na rin sa inyo kanina kasi mga kabatas natin, no, na every case with a different case number is a different case. One information equals one case. Okay? So itong 32 na ito, mga kabatas natin, they were never a subject yet of anything. Okay? Actually, itong 32 na ito, we don't know where it came from, basta nagkaroon na lang tayo ng ganyan. Okay? Tingnan nyo, they emphasize that the instant 32 instant talaga. 32 informations emanated from the same complaint affidavit where 2 informations are handled by Honorable Assisting Judge Maria Paz Reyes Izon of this court. They noted that the additional 32 informations were consolidated by the executive judge in this same court to avoid contradictory and conflicting rulings. Mga kabatas natin, ito pa, isa ito. Ang executive judge, hindi siya nagko-consolidate ng mga kaso. Okay? The executive judge will just cause the raffle to the same court and the motion for consolidation will be ruled by the handling judge and not by the executive judge. Okay? Sabi niya, in the same court to avoid contradictory and conflicting rulings. However, the said 32 informations were decided by a judge, different from the judge which handled the initial 2 informations, although belonging to the same court. They inferred that the 32 informations arose from the same complaint and pertains to the same videos enumerated in the complaint affidavit dated 28 November 2022, which are the same videos for which probable cause was already allegedly determined by the same court. Parang sinasabi lang nila dito na tapos na yung probable cause yan. Huwag nyo nang i-determine. Diretso na sa kaso. Well, parang ipasok na lang, no? Ipasok na lang. Wala nang usap-usap. Wala nang probable cause. Pasok na yan. Okay? They enumerated the videos along with their corresponding information. They deposited that the 32 newly filed informations are merely amended informations pursuant to the 7 December 2023 order. They opined that said amendment is permitted per Section 14, Rule 110 of the Revised Rules of Criminal Procedure. They declared that while a different judge, Judge Cortez, issued the 19 April 2024 Omnibus Resolution, it's still an order from the very same court which effectively reversed itself. Alam nyo, madali lang naman intindihin ito. No? Tulad nga ng sinabi ko sa inyo, isang kaso, isang information. Isang case number, ibang kaso. So, kaya nga 32 ang bilang. Kung pare-parehong kaso yan, isa lang dapat ang bilang yan. Okay? Okay? Sabi ni Kayo, kung galing yan sa 2 counts, hindi ba may double counting yan? Sa law of identity, ay unique ang every information. Paano magiging same yan? Ewan ko sa kanila. Sabi niya ganyan, sa paningin ko, it was a clever attempt to maneuver to smuggle in the other counts. Ewan ko din sa'yo. Okay, let's go! They argue that probable cause for copyright infringement exists in relation to the instant cases as all the elements of the said crime are present. They cited the cases of Enrique V. Viudes III versus the Court of Appeals et al., Jose M. Galario versus Office of the Ombudsman et al. They enumerated the elements of copyright infringement under Section 216 of the Intellectual Property Code as amended, ownership of a validly copyright material by the complainant and infringement of the copyright by the respondent. They posited that private complainant Raffy Tulfo in action owns the videos which are validly copyrighted materials published in its official YouTube channel as recognized in the said resolution and 7 December 2023 order. They averred that the accused repeatedly and continuously used the videos owned by complainant in his own videos without obtaining private complainant's consent as recognized in the 7 December 2023 order. They noted that the court found that all the elements of copyright infringement are present in this case and lifted the pertinent portion of the assailed resolution. Hindi ko maintindihan dito yung sinasabi nila na all the elements are present. If all the elements are present, ibig sabihin, we don't need to try the case anymore. Kung yung korte ang nagsabi na all the elements, kasi ito yung inaasil ng prosecution, all the elements are present. Pag sinabi nyo na all the elements are present, na sinabi nung judge nga na all the elements are present, isn't that prejudicial already to the case? Because sinasabi nyo nga na all the elements are present. Dito kasi, ang ginawa ng judge dito, nag-delve siya into the merits of the case. Yung sinasabi niyo dun sa una, hindi siya nag-delve sa merits of the case, di ba? Sinabi niya na kailangan ng full-blown trial. Pero, bakit mo pa kailangan ng full-blown trial kung all the merits of all the elements of copyright infringement are present already? Hindi ko maintindihan din yon. Pero, let's see. Ngayon, they cited the case. They noted that the court found that all the elements of copyright infringement are present in this case and lifted the pertinent portion of the assailed resolution. They cited the case of ABS-CBN Corporation versus Felipe Gozon et al., where the Supreme Court ruled that the mere act of rebroadcasting without authority from the owner of the broadcast, ito kasi broadcasting eh. I did not merely broadcast. Kasi ito mere act of broadcasting eh. I did not merely broadcast. I criticized, I commented, gives rise to the probability that a crime was committed under the Intellectual Property Code. They reiterated that reference is made to the elements of the crime charged in the determination of probable cause for purpose of issuing a warrant of arrest and for the case to proceed to trial. They opined that it is not required to be definitively established but it is sufficient that the elements are reasonably apparent. Yun nga ang ginawa ng korte dito, na nilalabanan pa nila. Di ba nakita nyo yung ginawa nila dun sa Omnibus Resolution? Pinanood nung judge yung bawat video ko. Inaral nila kung may copyright infringement o hindi. Nagkaroon pa ng mga comments doon yung korte kung ano yung ginawa ko at kung ano yung part ng video ng Raffy Tulfo in action na plinay ko. They did that meticulously. Tapos sasabihin mo lang na hindi, dapat full-blown trial. Sabi niya, attorney, hindi ba considered as refiling yung 32 kasi same ng initial 36 videos na hindi pumasok? Actually, yan din yung sinasabi ko eh. Na what they needed or what they can do are mere amendments. Dalawang informations lang ang pwede mong i-amend. Ang nangyari yung dalawa, nagkaroon ng 32 pa. Diba? Okay, ito. They reiterated that reference is made to the elements of the crime charge in the determination of probable cause for the purpose of issuing a warrant of arrest and for the case to proceed to trial. They opined that it is not required to be definitively established, but it is sufficient that the elements are reasonably apparent. Hindi ko rin maintindihan dito. Sinabi nila nung umpisa na nakita na daw ng judge na merong present yung elements. Pero dito, hindi naman daw kailangan na establish sufficiently, pero reasonably apparent lang. They averred that fair use is a matter of defense that may be threshed out in a full-blown trial, hence its determination is not proper before trial. They insisted that the court erred in making a distinction between fair use as a limitation and or as a defense. They posited that the fact that fair use is a limitation on copyright does not negate the fact that fair use is a defense which must be threshed out during trial proper. They alleged that this court cited the aforementioned case of ABS-CBN Corporation versus Felipe Gozon et al. They cited Section 185, Chapter 8 of RA 8293 or the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, which enumerated the factors to consider in determining whether the use made of a work in a particular case is fair use. They maintain that fairness and due process dictate that the parties be given full and complete opportunity to prove or negate the presence or absence of such factors. Yun nga rin ang sinasabi ko kasi dito. The very evidence in copyright infringement cases are the videos themselves. You don't need anything any further. Just look at it, di ba? Especially in these cases where the issue on fair use is heavily disputed and contested by both parties. They opine that the acts committed by the accused cannot be considered as fair use. They declared that the court erred in treating the first and fourth factors as one element, since said in Chapter 185, Chapter 8 of RA 8293, or the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, clearly and expressly provides 4 factors in determining whether the use of a work. Pero ginawa naman ng korte yun eh. Di ba? Tinignan niya nga lahat yung 4 na factors na yun eh. Bakit ganito kaya? They claim that the court effectively disregarded the first factor on whether use is of commercial nature. Diniscuss nga ng korte rin yung commercial nature eh. Diba? That's why I don't understand also. What's the argument? They pointed out the accused used private complainants' videos commercially to generate profit. They avowed that the court committed grave error in outrightly concluding that the views on the videos of private complainant did not diminish. They posited that the use by the accused of private complainants' copyrighted videos will surely have a negative impact on the number of views received by the private complainant videos, as the viewers may opt to just watch the reaction video since the original clip is already being shown therein. Now they're watching the reaction video because of the reaction. Kaya nga may reaction video at copyright at exemption sa copyright infringement yung mga reaction videos kasi nga they are criticisms, they are comments. Kaya nga daming reaction videos sa YouTube na hindi natatanggal. Pati nga yung number 1 na vlogger nyo reacts yung nasa dulo. Ewan ko ba sa inyo? Ito. They contended that the court erred in ruling that the amount and substantiality of the portions used by the... Tignan mo, sinabi niya dito nung umpisa na parang trinit lang ng korte na iisang element lang daw yung 4 na elements. Ngayon, dinidiscuss nila kung paano trinato ng korte yung 4 ng element bilang individual elements. Di ba? Weird. Anyway, let's go. Sabi niya, they contended that the court erred in ruling that the amount and substantiality of the portions used by the accused could not be taken against him, considering that there are way more comments made by the accused than the entire streaming of the videos, and that there is a need to reproduce the entire video in order to react fairly thereto. They posited that while the accused did not use the full copyrighted videos of private complainant in his video contents, the clips and footages shown are and used by the accused are sufficient to amount to a substantial reproduction of the works. They noted that the accused admitted in his counter affidavit that he reproduced the ETBT parts of private complainants' copyrighted videos, which are the main and material portions of the subject matter of the copyrighted works. Ewan ko kung ano yung sinasabi nila dito na admitted. Hindi naman nila kinukota ko. They cited the case of Pasita I. Habana et al. Versus Felicidad C. Robles et al., where the Supreme Court has ruled that it is not necessary that the whole or even a large portion of the work have been copied. They asseverated that the court committed grave error in assuming and concluding that YouTube has the same rule and factors in determining of whether a video should be taken down for not being considered as fair use. Hence, the cases must proceed to trial to give parties the opportunity to submit evidence on YouTube's policy that may help determine if indeed copyright infringement was committed. They stressed that Section 185, Chapter 8 of Republic Act 8293, or the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, is clear on the factors that must be considered in determining fair use. Hence, the court cannot use the fact that accused videos were not taken down by YouTube as evidence and proof that accused use constitute fair use. Siyempre, proof na rin yun. We are in the same platform. Yun kasi ang sinasabi ko eh. We should be honest to ourselves also. Diba? Everybody knows already. Ito rin yung hindi ko gusto kay Raffy Tulfo. Hindi siya honest sa sarili niya eh. Alam niya naman na hindi lang dadalawa yung anak niya. Pero pag magde-declare siya ng anak niya, sasabihin niya isa lang. Alam niya rin naman na hindi lang iisa yung entry sa kanyang seminomar. Pero magpa-file siya ng kaso na sasabihin na niloloko daw o parang pinaparatangan daw siya na marami siyang entries dun sa kanyang seminomar when in fact it's the truth. Diba? Sabi ni Mifi, attorney, ano yan, strategy para malihis ang attention mo? Well, I think it's everything, including that. No? They really want to stop me from emphasizing the actions of Raffy Tulfo. The court cannot use the fact that accused videos were not taken down by YouTube as evidence proof that accused use constitute fair use. It's material also because it's also evidence, diba? It's also in my favor. They considered as untenable the ruling that the very nature of private complainants program opens up the limitation of fair use as a function of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. They emphasize that the gravamen of copyright infringement is the unauthorized manufacturing of intellectual works and the unauthorized performance of any of the rights exclusively granted to the copyright owner. Hence, any person... Parang ano lang, no? Sinabi lang. Kumontra lang. Hence, any person who performs any of such acts without obtaining the copyright owner's prior consent renders himself civilly and criminally liable for copyright infringement, except if the use falls under the limitation to copyright under Section 184, Chapter 8 of Republic Act 8293, or if the same constitutes fair use. Hence, freedom of expression cannot be used as a defense. Ngayon, sabi niya, on 29 April 2024, the accused filed a comment on the said motion for consideration and motion for voluntary inhibition, declaring the prosecution is not telling the truth and such causes deception, so rampant and deliberate. The accused maintained that there is no grave abuse of discretion on the part of the court. He posited that the filing of additional cases is not within the ambit of an amendment. He argued that it is not true that the instant 32 informations emanated from the same complaint affidavit where 2 informations are already being handled by Honorable Assisting Judge Ison. Yun yung sinasabi ko dito eh. Hindi galing dun sa 2 na informations yung 32. Because they're new. Sila rin nagsabi naman na newly filed eh. He averred that only 2 informations emanated from the complaint affidavit. He declared that this fact can be seen in the resolution of the prosecutor, which is part and parcel of the records of the case. He opined that if the private complainant was not amenable to the resolution, finding only 2 counts of copyright infringement, the remedy was to file a motion for reconsideration or a petition for review and not amendment. He pointed out that there was no consolidation as the motion for consolidation was denied by Judge Ison in open court in which the prosecution is aware of, yet they still choose to mislead the court. He maintained that the prosecution is misleading the court since nothing in the law states that the executive judge will be the one to consolidate the cases, but will just cause the raffle to only one court, and the court will resolve the motion for reconsideration for the revised guidelines for continuous trial of criminal cases. He declared that it is not true that the filing of the 32 informations were in relation to the December 7, 2023 order, as said order was merely to amend the informations and not to file new ones. He belied that the newly filed informations were merely amended informations, for how will it be considered amended when it was newly filed? He posited that there were only 2 informations to amend. He declared that there is no finding of probable cause yet for the newly filed cases. He asseverated that it is not true that there was a previous order finding probable cause. It is the prosecution themselves who said that these cases were newly filed, hence Section 5, Rule 5A, Rule 112 of the revised rules of criminal procedure is applicable. He opined that it's impossible for any judge to determine probable cause in the 32 cases which when they were not even filed yet. He alleged the very evidence of fair use or copyright infringement in the cases herein are the videos themselves. Therefore, even without a full-blown trial, the court can determine fair use based on the videos and no other evidence is needed by the court. He maintained that the acts of the court in watching and reviewing every video and enumerating every applicable law cannot be reversed by mere general contentions of the prosecution. He commended the work that the court exerted in the omnibus resolution. He pointed out that the dismissal of the cases is the very essence of justice and speedy disposition of cases. He maintained that there is nothing left to do herein and going into a full-blown trial is a waste of time and resources. He posited that he cannot comment any further on fair use and copyright infringement than what is already said in the assailed omnibus resolution. He noted that the 2 judges already found found that there is no probable cause in the cases against the accused versus 1. He posited that the original handling judge, Honorable Judge Santiago, posited that had the original handling judge, Santiago, not retired, there is a high probability that all cases are already dismissed. He theorized that if 2 judges' resolutions are in sync versus 1 that is not, and there are only 3 judges, which resolution bears more weight? Of course, the resolution of the 2 judges which are incongruent with each other. He pointed out that it is unfair to implicate bias, partiality, and prejudice against judges who performs their duties well. He averred that an adverse resolution or decision is not tantamount to bias, partiality, and prejudice, like what the prosecution is attributing to this court. He emphasized that the prosecution also implicated bias, partiality, and prejudice against retired Judge Santiago for the reason that Judge Santiago is a former police officer and Mayor Magalong is also a former police officer. He declared that the judge and the mayor do not even know each other. He alleged that the prosecution is forum shopping. They are shopping for a judge which is prohibited by law. He cited the cases People versus the Honorable Sandigan Bayan, 1st Division, et al., Kilos Bayan Foundation versus Judge Leonche M. Hanolo, Jr., et al., and Section 13, Canon 2 of the 2023 Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. Doon pa lang mga kabads natin, dami na natin matututunan, di ba? Pero, i-discuss ko yan bukas. Nakita naman na natin, meron na dito yung binasa ko kanina, mga kabatas natin. Ito yung laman nung motion for reconsideration ng Raffy Tulfo in Action Foundation versus yung comment ko dun sa motion for reconsideration nila. No? Plus, kasama din yun yung motion for inhibition nila against Judge Cortez and my comment doon sa motion for reconsideration nila against Judge Cortez. Okay? So ngayon mga kabatas natin, pag makikita nyo, no, parang sabi ni Simple Lintindi, I'm just parang, I want to walk you through then to what really is happening in the court. No? Without, of course, yung tinatawag nila na sub judice. That's why nag-iingat nga ako sa inyo eh. And we are reading this, mga kabatas natin. We are showing both sides. There is already a decision of the court, no? So we cannot influence the court any further. Nandiyan naman na siya, mga kabatas natin. Ngayon, balikan talaga. Di ba? Balikan. So sasabihin mo ito, sasabihin ko rin ito. It's really adversarial. Ganyang kadugo. Okay? Ganyang katugo yung nangyayari sa korte. Para hindi na rin kayo manibago. Kung kunwari, you will be participating in any court case, malalaman nyo na ganyan na. Okay? Yun lang mga kabatas natin. Itutuloy natin yan bukas. Okay? Pag-aaralan natin kung ano yung sinabi ng korte. Doon sa mga arguments ko at saka sa arguments ng kabila. Ng Raffy Tulfo in Action Foundation. Okay? Maraming salamat. Tama yung sinabi ni Suza Cocrono dito. 30-0 walkthrough full gameplay. Di ba? Pinapaganda mo pa. Participating in court case. Di ba? If you participate in a court case, ganyan yung mangyayari. Okay? Maraming salamat. Matulog po tayo na mahimbing. Lipat tayo sa kabila dahil alam natin na natutulog na mahimbing, siya yung laging panalo. Sandali. Attorney, yung Judge Santiago, yun po ba yung sharpshooter na SWAT? Yun po yun. Siya po yun. Siya rin po yung may pelikula. Siya yung ginawa ng pelikula. Siya yun, si Judge Santiago. Siya yung na-early retire. Yan. Sabi ni Cedric Gasias, Attorney, tanong lang po. Sample, finale ito sa Sang Small Vlogger at same ending na dismiss lahat. Kung may nagastos man ng accused, pwede ba siya mag-file din para ma-reimburse yung magastos siya? Well, pwede naman. No? Kapag malicious yung prosecution, you can file for malicious prosecution kasi nga, nagpa-file sila ng mga kasong na-dismiss. Okay? Yan, tama yan. SPO4, sharpshooter. Yun, tapos naging judge siya. Actually, marami siyang awards eh. Nakita ko yun si Judge Jamie B. Santiago. Ang dami niyang awards. Ang dami niyang accolades bilang isang judge. Maraming salamat. Matulog po tayo na mahimbing dahil alam natin na yung natutulog na mahimbing, siya yung laging panalo. Paalam po. Pansamantala.